Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on FGO. Today we're gonna do some runs on the Bleacher, but before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So first thing we gotta mention is that there are actually about 3 quests that are really worth your time and AP, because all of these provide a huge amount of bond, but you don't want to do all of them because only 3 will give you extra resources. The thing is that they are kind of like challenge quests, and they have basically a certain amount of damage that you need to deal in order to clear this, and basically you'll want to use very aggressive setups, Oberon, Black Grail, stuff like that. So starting with West America. Here on West America, we're gonna fight a 3-wave node with Lancers. This is actually not that difficult. You can just borrow a good looper like Muramasa with a Black Grail, and he will be able to do this. Or if you have your own Muramasa, you can use it. In my case, I am using my own Muramasa, as you can see, next to 2 Castorias, an Oberon, and of course Muramasa equipped with Black Grail. Everyone else is going to have the bond CEs, so that I increase my bond gains as much as possible. It is important that you buff Muramasa as much as possible on the first turn, omitting his own skills. And also, depending on the append of your supporter, you might be able to use twice the Castoria MP to buff Muramasa even further. First with your own, and then with your supporters. In this particular case, I'm not showing that because the supporter I selected didn't have the append skill, but it is an option. Just so that you know, I use my own NP on the first wave, and now for the second wave, we just change Oberon for one of the Castorias, the one that used her MP, and he's going to be able to charge the last bit of the other Castorias so that she's able to use the MP, and you can use either Muramasa's charge or Oberon's charge. I suggest that you go with Muramasa's because Oberon is going to reduce the NP charge at the end of the turn, and that might hinder your loop, And lastly, on the third wave, you will be using the attack of an MP damage up of the outfit, along with the NP buff, or special buff from Oberon, and also all the buffs from Muramasa. And that way you're able to deal single target damage to this enemy with an AoE attack. I mean, obviously it is a busted setup. Obviously we're using the pay to win stuff, but I tried different builds, and without grails for the F2P units, it's a little bit difficult. So if you're having troubles 3-turn clearing this, grab a decent attacker, looper preferably, and just use your supporters, the supporters that you have in your own account. There's a bunch of good supporters, F2P supporters that you can use. Even Shufu is one of the best. You can also use what's the name? Oh yeah, Da Vinci Ruler. She's also pretty good. And now let's do another run. We're going to go now to Hawaii, and on Hawaii you're gonna see if I'm not mistaken, it is a 2 or 3, I think it's 3 wave node, And this one, we're gonna be using Ibuki. Why Ibuki in particular? Because she is Earth, anti-Earth, and the enemies here have Earth attributes, so we want to take advantage of that damage multiplier so that we just clear this ASAP. Fortunately, on the first wave, there are 3 enemies, so you just use all of Castoria's skill over here, because we're using Black Grail, and that means we have almost no charge other than the pen. And then, after using Castoria's buffs, we're going to be using the Ibuki's buffs, the attack up, and also the cooldown reduction and arch damage increase. We use Castoria's buff, well, not Castoria's buff, Castoria's NP. Then we use Ibuki's NP, and that's going to allow you to get a ton of charge. But the enemies have big numbers over here, so that might not be enough for you to loop easily. And that's why we have Oberon on the team, to get that 70% charge on demand. So we just start by using swapping Castoria for Oberon, and we use Oberon's buff to charge the whole party, and then we use Ibuki one more time. And with that, you should be able to loop also this wave, thanks to the fact that we still have another 50% charge from Oberon. You can also use the attack up on this wave, but I do not recommend it. Just use your charge and save the attack up for this last wave. It really depends on how much damage you deal, depending on your level, MP copies and such. But at the very end, you're gonna have the Oberon buff, and if you're using Black Grail or maybe Holy Grail, the one that has Iris, but it gives a little bit less than Black Grail, a little bit less MP damage, you are going to have still a ton of damage at the very end because of Oberon's buff. So you can use, in case you need it, the attack up at MP damage up from the outfit on the second wave. Now, let's just finish this with the last quest. And the last one is going to be on Russia. And we're going to be fighting a 2-wave node. Fortunately, this one is pretty short. And we're going to be using the marvelous Chen Gong, because he can do it. Of course, mine has grails, but honestly, grailing a Gong is not a bad idea. If you want to do this F2P, Gong is excellent. So, for Gong, what you want to do is that we do want the Oberon, but I'm gonna do this even better, because we want to increase damage as much as possible, and that's why we add Nightingale, Archer Nightingale over here. So for that, Nightingale is going to be using her attack up, and also the Guts. The Guts gives an MP damage up, and then we change Nightingale for Castoria, the Castoria that you have right at the end of your backline, and that way we're gonna use Castoria to charge Oberon, to charge Gong. Super important that you first use all of the skills of the last Castoria, the first Castoria, the one that you have right in front of your team. It depends on the position where you put Gong, but here I'm gonna sacrifice the first unit. So I have to use Castoria's skills first. I also use her MP because I can, and Gong's MP after that. The fact that you use Gong's MP on top of Castoria's MP means that Gong is going to have extra damage, and it's going to have no issue dealing with this wave. The thing is that you only have like 30% recharge, But thanks to Oberon, we're gonna be able to charge what we're missing. And thanks to Oberon, we're also going to be able to use Castoria's MP. Yeah, probably try to grab some Castorias that have the mana loading so that you're able to abuse their NP. And yeah, this is a pretty easy way to deal with these 3 nodes, which are the ones that you want to farm because they're gonna give you crystals, the Russian crystals. They're gonna give you feathers and seashells, and also QP. QP on America, seashells on Hawaii, and crystals, well, seashells and feathers on Hawaii, and crystals on Russia. And also, do not forget to use your teapots. You want to use your teapots. And be sure to put someone on your team who really needs the bond, because their runs on this place are limited per day. You can only do 3 per day. You can stack them up to 9 runs, but honestly, you want to take advantage of this as much as possible. Do different compositions, do different strategies, and try to 3 turn, 2 turn, or even 1 turn, depending on the node. This as much with as many compositions as you can, so that you're able to gain bond with all your characters. Well, anyways, that's about it for today. I hope you find this useful, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!